And that's how I want my community members to be. I want banking not to be a worry. There's so many other things that we can worry about in life. Banking does not have to be one of them.
Welcome to Why Guarantee. Thank you so much for listening today. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on this episode. I'm Chelsea Reber, and today I am joined by Ryan Coaxum. Ryan, thank you for being here today.
Happy to be here.
So first, tell me, what is your role at Guaranty Bank Trust, and where are you located?
My role at Guaranty Bank Trust, I'm Senior Vice President of Community Development and External Affairs, and I'm located deep in the heart of Texas, Austin, Texas.
What inspired you to pursue a career in community development?
It kind of came at me, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I started off as a part-time teller, kind of went up through the ranks, and then for the longest I was a lender. And then after that, some of the executive management of the bank came up to me and said, "Hey, you love to talk to people. You're very good at being out in the community. We're thinking about starting a whole department. Would you like to head that?"
You mentioned talking to people. What do you think is one of the most important characteristics of somebody who is involved in community development?
Be able to meet people where they are. I think we all are, kind of come from different communities, different places, but I think we all just kind of have a commonality, and, you just got to find that.
Are there community development officers all over the different locations, or is kind of the whole center of it based in Austin?
Our department is very robust.
Okay.
There are, we'll carry the one, two, me, and I do serve the whole bank, the organization.
You're traveling a lot, though.
Do travel a lot.
Gotcha. And how hard is it or easy is it to get involved with all of the different communities in that Guaranty Bank and Trust serves? I mean, that's obviously your job, right? But how does the bank allow you to get involved with the communities that you visit?
Really, it's simple. It's the people that are already in the hearts of the community. So a lot of the, it could be a branch manager, it could be a teller, it could be the market presidents. And if they're already involved in an organization, more than likely they'll just call me and say, "I have this going on." And then I just continue that relationship, and I'm just kind of the point of contact.
For people who may be unfamiliar, can you explain exactly what community development entails, and what is Guaranty Bank and Trust doing to really excel in that space?
Yeah, so community development, at Guaranty, we focus on 3 pillars, which is affordable housing, financial literacy, and workforce and economic development. Within that, usually it's going to be the civic organizations, nonprofits, and government entities that really lead and are making a way for that to happen. And so I work with those people on a daily basis, just so if you are building a project in a low income to moderate area, I would love to be a part of that, and we can either find some financing, or maybe we just simply make a donation that helps further the cause.
Mm-hmm. Community banking plays a unique role in supporting local economies, kind of like you just mentioned. How do you see Guaranty Bank and Trust's role in fostering economic growth and community empowerment?
Yeah, I like to say the road to the American dream goes through the financial system. And so you do need community banks, you need the regional banks, and you need the big banks in order to help that American dream with the community members. And Guarantee allows us to really be in the heart of the community and be participating in ways that are just meaningful to the people that live there.
Can you give me a specific example of that?
There are so many. One of my favorite stories that I like to share is during PPP. I usually tell the story about one of my customers, but I think for the longest time, we always said, community banks, we're there, we're here for you. And it became kind of repetitive. However, during the pandemic, we were really there to show, when the big banks couldn't do their thing and nobody else could help you out, and it took a while for, the government programs that were in place to get enacted, we were able to swoop in, do what we need to, get the money towards the people, and then everybody was like, I need to be at a community bank.
Sure.
So it was just amazing. And so I don't need another time like the pandemic. We don't want that. But we do always look for ways to show that, hey, we are here for you.
That's a great example of this as well, just the impact on community development. But what have been some of the most impactful situations, initiatives that you've led or contributed to? And, if you can also kind of add, what have been some of the challenges that you have faced during initiatives like that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest impact that we have, just in terms of that we started, would be the Guaranty Bank Community First Mortgage Program. And that allows first-time homeowners to get into homes. Because as you know, that down payments can be exorbitant, actually paying for it just with people's jobs and incomes. And so if we can help that's the biggest source of finance that people have in their lives. And that's just been really rewarding when you see somebody and they're like, oh, that's our first house. And Guarantee Bank did that. And, that's when, have a little pep in your step. You're like, yeah, we did that. And,
you hear more and more these days how people are getting older before they can own their first home. And it's tough. It's tough to do.
It's tough. And I like to say, hey, we're all on our own journey. And there's more people that buy homes later in life. Mm-hmm. Some people buy homes, really early. And that's just a thing that we should just talk about. And it's like, you're on your own path, and that's a good thing. And you're meant to buy your house when you buy your house.
You mentioned that. We need to talk about it more. I think finances in general can be a very hush-hush topic and can be an awkward topic for even friends to discuss. What are the benefits of maybe not sharing it on social media, what's in your bank account, but having those conversations with somebody that you trust, like let's say your banker at Guarantee?
Yeah, no, I think it's very important because if you really think about any problems that we have in life, we can't fix them until somebody's like, oh, wait, you go through that too? Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. And then that's when, it comes out and we're like, oh, we fixed this problem. And I think, that is our approach at Guarantee to make it more relatable, accessible for people to come in our banks, have a cup of coffee, a friendly smile, and let's just talk about life. Let's talk, how can we help you? How can we get you to that next rung in life?
It doesn't have to feel so scary.
It does not. I try not to make it scary. I mean, I'm a scary person.
I can tell.
Right. No, I'm kidding.
Guaranty Bank and Trust's tagline is growing strong communities. How does your department bring this to life?
So kind of like we talked about before, through the programs that we are doing, those initiatives, but also being that listening ear, being available to the community in good times and bad. So, yes, we want to get you into your first home, but then there's a lot of times where you could be down on your luck or you need money or your small business, can't get to that next rung before you need that. Even a lot of times it's just a small loan. And we are here to help with that. And, person by person, business by business, we are growing strong communities.
As the head of community development, how do you measure the success of your initiatives and what future goals do you have for the communities that you serve?
Yeah, measuring the success. I mean, I have my executives that are going to measure that success.
True.
But even so, sometimes it can be the conversations that are just had and mentioned and be like, hey, Guarantee, help me with that. It can also be, my favorite thing is seeing people, first-time home buyers, with their keys in hand. That's amazing. A lot of times I give talks at schools, and I just gave one, and the head of marketing, Joanna De Leon, she went with me, and it was fabulous. But as I was leaving, one of the girls was like, hey, you're that banker guy. And I'm like, oh, which session today was your favorite? She's like, oh, no, I took it a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then she was like, save, because that's just kind of the thing I was telling her to do. And it's just like, that's amazing. Like, a couple of years later, you're still up here saying, save. Uh-huh. I'm like,
Did you ask her if she did?
Yeah. I believe she did. I was just thinking, if somebody gave that opportunity to me and went over those kind of things, I would be a whole lot different place, or at least I would have been there sooner. One of the things that we like to do when we go into these classrooms is have them fill out fake checks. Uh-huh. And they're like, oh, wait, you sign it where? Because it's a thing that we don't do too often now, but those are kind of experience that they should have and should know how to do. and they just don't. And so it's kind of fun.
It's funny because I'm thinking about things I see on social media, and there's a lot of, I think at a certain age, I guess millennials maybe, who say, man, why were we learning about geometry when we should have been learning about
Correct.
my checking account or things like
Correct.
that. And so I guess how do you try to implement that then in young people's lives early on?
You really have to kind of sit there and have those conversations either with a friend or family and say, what would you have loved to learn at that time?
Right.
And literally kind of rudimentary kind of stuff comes out of it. And you're like, wait a minute, they don't know that? And, and then you're thinking, wait, I guess I just learned that 3 years ago.
Sure.
Just kind of like when you see the memes online. What moment was it when you learned about
right today?
Today.
Exactly.
And so that's what, that's what we're trying to do. But like I said, I can't, say enough how thankful I am to be at a company that allows me to do this for a living, that allows me to go out in the community, talk people's ears off, smile, laugh. If I have Cash, our mascot, dance with them. And then, you go home and you're like, that was a great day.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about younger people. How do you involve community development in the senior area as well?
They're my favorite group. They are truly my favorite group. And right now, one of the push is obviously we have really bad fraud in the banking industry. Mm-hmm. But with fraud comes elder abuse and elder fraud. And, those are we love those citizens and we need to protect them. And a lot of times I go to the senior citizen homes. I love going to church groups, and I just talk to them like, my grandparents aren't living anymore. So I talk to them like I would talk to my grandparents if I had them and said, hey, you need to be careful doing this, or no, you don't need to open. I understand that that's a cute dog on that photo and to open the link, but do not click that link.
Right.
And, you just have so much, just a great time, or like they like to say in the church, they have such a great fellowship. That you leave those moments just very happy. And, I don't give out my number anymore because
sounds like there's a story behind that.
Yeah, I don't give out my number anymore because they will call and be like, hey, this is Audrey from the senior citizen group. I'm having trouble with my Dell computer.
Can you please help me?
Can you please help me? I know you're in banking, but I'm trying to get to my banking. And, I will literally sit there on the phone and be like, did you turn the computer on and off?
Yes.
But,
yes. Did you try to reboot it?
Did you try to reboot it? But like I said, I love thinking of banking as pillars of the community. And with that, I think comes with a lot of responsibility. So it could come to, paying a new shopping center, or, giving a loan to a small business, or helping that community member at the church that needs help with her computer. Because at the end of the day, once you help her, which actually she did, she will come and open a bank account up and be like, I would never go anywhere else because they know exactly what they're talking about. And they help me with they're my tech center.
Yeah. So much of what you do is face to face, but with today's world and the way technology has changed so much about how you can do things just with your thumbs on a phone, even in banking, right? Like online banking, it's a great thing. It's convenient, but how do you really keep that sense of community going in your day to day because of the increase in people's ability to not see one another?
Yes. We're going to make a Zoom call.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to do a FaceTime. Mm-hmm. We are going to still try to have that interaction because I think the interaction is the important part of banking. They always say you need 3 things when you start a business, and that's going to be a banker, a lawyer, and an accountant. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when people do have those, especially kind of more of our well-to-do citizens, they don't have to worry about a whole lot of things. And that's how I want my community members to be. I want banking not to be a worry. There's so many other things that we can worry about in life. Banking does not have to be one of them. Yeah. Stay in front of them.
Why do you love working for Guaranty Bank and Trust?
I mean, there's so many reasons. I love our culture here. I love all the bosses that I've had. I love the people that I work with. I love that the bank allows me to do what I love. And, now that I've been here almost 7.5 years, they trust me 100%. Not all my avenues of going away about things make sense at the time, but it will always show the result at the end. And so now I'll say something crazy and they're like, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'll be like, see, you got to stick with me.
We talk a lot about community development in the communities outside of the bank. What is going on inside the bank with community development?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. That's one of the most exciting parts about community development, that, we're all bankers, and it doesn't matter the role or the title to give back to your community. And so at Guaranty, we really encourage people to give back. We actually give people hours to do that on company time, that they can go do whatever it is that calls them or they're led to do in the community. And then one of the things that is fun, at the end of the year, it's an honor system, but whoever gets the most hours in the community, we tabulate it up, and people, you can see it on a daily basis who's ahead.
Oh, okay.
And you put your hours in, and at the end of the year, we have the Guaranty Bank and Trust Impact Award. And it is an award, there's glass at the bottom, but the big thing about the award, it is a green world at the top. And it sounds very corny, but it's very true. And it's the meaning of the world is what you do in your community, even little, big, or small, has the impact to change the world.
Yeah.
So
very cool. Yeah, that's got a great way to get people involved, and then also to kind of keep an eye on other people's volunteer hours and make it a little bit of a competition.
It's a big competition.
Yeah.
And, every year, and I don't actually get to be in it because my service hours are a lot. And so when I put them in, everybody's like, really, Ryan, that's not even fair. That's what you do. But I love it. I love it. I mean, because the thing is, it starts inside the bank, and then those family members are like, hey, can we volunteer with them too? And then now it's a family affair. Yeah. And, that's how things change.
I know you travel a lot and you do a lot for work, but what are some of your favorite ways to get involved in your community in Austin?
My favorite one, my daddy is a Baptist minister, so it's always going to be giving back to church. That's one that I love. I am involved on the board of 4 different boards in the Austin area, and those center around economic development, musical theater, the arts and culture. So it kind of touches a lot of touch points, but I think, as bankers, we need to be in a lot of touch points to help the communities we serve.
Well, Ryan Coaxum, thank you so much for joining us today and being on Why Guarantee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on this episode. If you want to learn more about Guaranty Bank, visit them online at gnty.com. The link is in the description below.